Assalamu alaikum. So I found a very good book today and I want to share it with kids. I'll try to read some chapters so they can hear it and they will gonna enjoy it. I'm sure. So actually it is for my kids too. I thought to like play for them. Nowadays kids are all the time on TV, so no one is into books. So better they can watch something. So here it is. The Conquest of the North Pole. The huge ice cap that lies over the North Polar region is one of the most inhospitable areas of the Earth. Bitterly cold and lashed by blizzards, devoid of natural vegetation and with little in the way of animal life. It offers no encouragement even to the modern explorer with all his scientific equipment. Despite this, men of courage have been probing farther and farther north into the polar regions for many centuries past. In the time of Alexander the Great, a Greek merchant called Pythias left Marseilles and sailed through the Straits of Gibraltar, then called the Pillars of Hercules, and steered his ship towards the north. Like so many of the great explorers that were follow him, Pythias was setting out primarily in search of trade. He was one of the world's merchant adventurers. Ultima Thule. As Pythias travelled northwards, he found the sea becoming rougher, the mist thicker, the sky greyer, and the rains more frequent than in the Mediterranean. He recorded how the sun remained low on the horizon for all but a few hours a day. This suggests that he reached the coast of Norway, then a legendary country in the most northerly regions of the inhabited world. The Ultima Thule, which Agricola's Roman fleet was to sail later when sailing off the east of Scotland in AD 84, beyond these latitudes lay the stagnant sea, a vast expanse of cold grey water carrying masses of floating ice. 1,000 years were to pass before anyone ventured again into these frozen waters. Then, in 870, Other of Hillland rounded the North Cape at the extreme tip of Norway and sailed on as far as the White Sea. Later, he told the story of his discovery to Alfred the Great, and it was this English king who first recorded the existence of the midnight sun. Adventurers then began to explore far beyond the Arctic Circle, and it is not difficult to imagine what dangers and hardships these tough sailors had to face and overcome. The world's largest island. Meanwhile, Ireland had been colonized from Norway and North Britain towards the end of the 9th century. 100 years later, Eric the Red set sail in the wake of Gunnbjörn Alfsson, who had earlier discovered Greenland, the world's largest island. Taking with him a group of pioneers, he found that Greenland was an excellent fishing center and formed a settlement on its southwest coast. The descendants of these colonists survived for 4 centuries. In a remote, inhospitable land, completely cut off from Europe, finally they abandoned the territory and it was left to Martin Frobisher to rediscover Greenland in 1578. With the discovery of America, a new problem arose. Was it possible to sail round the north of the American continent into the Pacific and so open a new route to the trading centers of the Far East? Explorers sought a passage in two directions, to the northwest round Canada and Alaska, and to the northeast along the north shores of Siberia. 17th and 18th century expeditions to the polar seas were made with this aim and purpose in mind. Many of these voyages were undertaken by the Merchant Adventurers of England, an organization operating under Royal Charter which owned some of the best ocean-going vessels of the day. Its sea captains were among the boldest and most skillful that England had ever seen. Some early sea captains. Since 1500, the merchant adventurers had been trying in the interest of commerce to find a way to Russia and the East through the Arctic seas. The names of such great Elizabethan sailors as Sir Hugh Willoughby, Stephen Barrow, Arthur Pett, and Charles Jackman are linked with those early voyages to Novaya Zemlya and the Kara Sea. Dutch sailors were seeking the same goal. In the 1590s, the famous William Barents made several expeditions into Arctic waters, exploring the seas around Bear Island in Svalbard at latitude 80 degrees north. If the Arctic winter of 1596-1597 had not been so hard, this courageous explorer might have been able to penetrate even further. But the pack ice closed in, forcing him to spend the winter there, and he was ill-equipped to withstand the bitter cold. Spring came, and the party turned south towards Lapland, but Barents died on the way. He is remembered today in the name Barents Sea. Henry Hudson's tragic fate. The Dutch now abandoned their search for a northeast passage around Russia, but the efforts of the English navigators were renewed. In 1607, a bold attempt to penetrate deep in the polar regions was made by Henry Hudson, who sailed north up the east coast of Greenland, until blocked by ice in about latitude 80 degrees north. Meanwhile, hope of finding a northeast passage was increasing. The vast region to the west of Greenland was known to be a labyrinth of lakes, islands, narrow stairs, and rocky peninsulas. Hudson, acting on behalf of the Dutch East India Company, ranged the seas between Spitsbergen and Novaya Zemlya, making observations that led to the opening up of whale fishing in that area. Then he set a course for North America and discovered the strait between Baffin Island and Labrador. Was this the long-sought passage which would lead to the Pacific? At first, Hudson thought it was, and believed that the great sea which stretched before him was the ocean he was striving to reach. But he was mistaken. The ship and its crew were trapped in a vast bay where they had to spend a severe winter. Half crazy with hardship and suffering, the sailors mutinied on their way home, casting Hudson and his son adrift to perish in waters that now bear his name.